folks. Welcome to IHF News. Today's topic is hypocrisy in politics. We're going to talk about Monica Lewinsky and today's scandal with Stormy Daniels.
All right. So think back to Ken Starr time, right? Yeah. His office, in just the last 6 months, spent $6 million of taxpayer money investigating Bill Clinton and the Monica Lewinsky thing. Ironically enough, Ken Starr then went to become the president of Baylor University and was fired after multiple mishandlings of sexual abuse cases. Remember that?
Right. I do remember that. And looking at this whole situation, let's start with the Lewinsky scandal itself and the time it took place. It was the late 90s. The economy was actually doing well. Yes, there was a recession around the corner, but at the time, the economy was doing well. The nation's finances were penciling out. Our foreign military intervention was just going into the Balkans. There wasn't really a lot you had on Clinton, except for a blowjob. And not to Clinton's own credit, he did kind of put himself in that situation with the perjury thing. Oh, yeah. I actually think if he would have just said, yeah, it happened, we would have been outraged for a day and moved on.
Yeah.
Right.
So moving forward to today, a president that we've already agreed upon is morally depraved. Even if you support him, you don't even care.
Well, you just said perjury. I mean, it's like, I don't think that word really means anything in the White House right now. Because they have perjured themselves over and over. And all those, I mean, not just Trump, okay? But the top lawman in the government has perjured himself.
Mr. Attorney General, do you still believe that the intentional failure to remember can constitute a criminal act?
If it's an act to deceive, yes.
He said he had no involvement in Russian dealings, no conversations, and hey, guess what? They caught him, right? The little white elf was caught lying to his confirmation.
The fact that the right is not even covering the Stormy Daniels scandal makes it a little more intriguing, and people we're asking questions.
Well, I mean, okay, so one thing is like sensationalism of the media, right? And all these little nuggets that we're looking for. But just as a comparative, think of the money that was spent, okay? The money that was spent before, this is the real hypocrisy here too. We spent $60 million, not we, but the taxpayers suffered this, right? $60 million investigating Bill Clinton and the Clinton Foundation during that presidency. For the Monica Lewinsky thing, the Clinton Foundation, $60 million. Guess how much money we spent on the 9/11 Commission? $15 million. One fraction of that. That's part of the real hypocrisy here of what we're spending our money on.
I agree on the hypocrisy part and that we spent a lot of money, and that's why I don't want us to keep spending money on things that aren't going to change anyone's mind. No one's going to know. Trump could go up and be like, I fucked Stormy Daniels right up the ass. And I grabbed her by the pussy. And you know what? His MAGA fans are going to be like, fuck yeah, he did. It's not going to change anybody's mind. Yeah. You're either on him, you're either with him or you're not. So, I mean, why are we burning energy on this when he's not even delivering on the populist platform that he was campaigning on?
Because it's the hush money. It's the people getting involved, the lawyers covering up the story.
I'm just afraid we're getting desensitized by all this stuff.
I think we're just as I said, I blame the Kardashians. We're tabloid obsessed. We'd rather talk about the president fucking a porn star than talk about actual policy issues. And
Trump is kind of masterminded.
We'll talk about the trade deal. We'll talk about it for a second, and then we'll go back to
that's not
the
very
tariffs.
Interesting. Yeah,
it's not interesting. I mean,
yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Major
the only
tax
people
reform
right now that are consistently keeping a policy discussion in the headlines are a bunch of teenagers in Florida. Right. Those are the only people doing that. And I'm not even totally on board with that. You're a gun owner. I got swords. Yeah, I mean...
liberal gun nut right here. Liberal gun nut. Well, you know, it is... it's very inspiring that it's taking high school students to do this, right? It's inspiring that they're doing this, but do we really need to be at this point where no one else is doing anything? Adults are not doing anything.
At least they're having a conversation that matters.
Yeah, no, and I'm just saying it's inspiring, but it's sad at the same time that we're in this position where kids are having to be the ones that are taking a stance on gun control and creating laws, and now they're saying that there's some movement going on. That's the sad state of affairs. It's almost like when people go through suffering and you feel bad for them. If you watch enough people going through suffering, you get compassion fatigue, right? This is the term, compassion fatigue. I think we're just at that point. I'm afraid we're at that point where no matter how bad the news is or what he's done or who he's grabbing where and whatnot. We're at this point, we're just kind of like glazing over and watching for the next little
Right,
news
I
nugget.
feel
I'm more
we're
like
glazing
thinking
over because all the new information it tops the next.
That's what I was thinking.
And
Like,
it's
what
too
what
much.
can I pull off next? I mean, we start with his conversation with Billy Bush, where he actually quoted you, saying, "Grab him by the pussy."
Oh yeah.
And
That's big into
then, and then now we're at the Stormy Daniel. It's just like what he's like daring us.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
what can I try next?
just he must be the greatest puppet master ever to engineer all these like sensationalist nuggets of stuff that he's been doing.
No,
He even told Billy Bush.
And then later, after when the cameras are off, he says, Billy, look, you just tell them, and they believe it. That's it. You just tell them, and they believe.
Don't.
Scary.
What does that
True.
say? Say a lie enough times, people are gonna believe it.
But now we're getting.
I think that's the motto of the White House right now.
Of his
right? You say it enough
administration.
times, it's gonna happen. People are gonna believe it.
don't think he's that sophisticated that this is all.
Wait, sophisticated?
Trump
Is that
sophisticated?
You mean the ketchup on the steak incident?
And he's got like a lot of gold stuff. That's classy. We like that.
Yeah. Right. So the Billy Bush thing, you bring up a great point, right? So all these things are kind of converging, and it's not coincidentally enough that we have a Me Too movement, right? It almost took this presidency to have a Me Too movement because of, the grab them by the pussy and the abuse of power and I don't see this happening during the Obama administration or Clinton or Bush Jr. I think it's ironic that it is actually creating movement.
But
Political movement.
if he's the
Especially
end game
for
of the Me
women.
Too movement, the problem is everything keeps bouncing off of him.
Right.
I don't know how that works. He's like I think he's like a superhero, and his superpower is that he can do whatever he wants that's wrong, and people are just not gonna hold him to the
maybe it's,
fire.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's also Democrats alike too. I don't think they should be. I don't think they are pressing enough as they should have been, as the Republicans were for Obama.
Well,
and,
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say the one issue with conflating it to the Me Too movement. The only thing we have at this point is a completely 100% consensual relationship, where the Me Too movement is about rape, it is about harassment, it's about
abuse of power,
unwelcome
sexual acts,
sexual acts. Where at this point it was 100% consensual.
Right.
So I'm sorry I shit on your point.
Well, talking about hypocrisy, it's frustrating when the right gave so much shit to Obama when he was just thinking about meeting with the leader of North Korea.
Would you, as president, meet with the leaders of a country like North Korea? Obama extraordinarily said, I'd meet with him.
Senator Obama made his intentions crystal clear on the campaign trail.
I will meet, not just with our friends, but with our enemies.
President Obama likes talking to dictators.
He would meet with some of these madmen without any preconditions.
I'm going to reach out to these crazy people around the world and try to get things done.
Yeah.
It was a hypothetical question introduced in a debate.
Right.
And
he said he would.
Yes.
And he got burned for saying, yes, I would have meetings with North Korea or Iran.
Right.
And then...
And now that Trump does it, it's amazing.
It's okay. No,
Yeah.
great.
Commander-in-Chief's leadership is now leading to a major foreign policy breakthrough.
Another stunning Donald Trump breakthrough.
President Trump scoring a big win.
It's time to celebrate a great victory when it happens.
President Trump proves the experts wrong again and scores a stunning diplomatic triumph.
It's terrific. It's gonna be the greatest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's gonna be huge.
Unbelievable.
One of the other differences, right, between like we're talking about Monica Lewinsky, we're talking about Stormy Daniels. One of the other differences is back in the day, the Monica Lewinsky scandal was happening.
Mm-hmm.
She was a victim, right? She was victimized. It was like it was all kind of portrayed that way. She didn't know what she was doing, and she really had no public voice about it. She had no opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Stormy Daniels, we have a whole different situation, which is pretty interesting, right? She's basically a professional whore, and she admits it. She owns it. She has her own production company, and she's not afraid to face the news when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I'd be really interested I want to hear more about Stormy Daniels. I want to get a round table going with her and probably all the other women that he's paid off to have sex with them. That would be a really interesting show right
Well,
there.
Stormy Daniels owning it, her confidence about it, her lack of regret about it is probably that's one more element that's playing into the fact that why the nation isn't necessarily outraged.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
you own
Again,
it.
we're talking about consensual adults had an affair. If this was Bernie Sanders, if this was any other, think of your ideal candidate.
Bernie Sanders would probably need some pills to handle that situation. But no, I know I see what you're saying there. I see what you're saying. We are treating it differently because it's sensational and all this kind of stuff. But ultimately, is it the first guy that is married that paid to a super important guy, like a super wealthy guy that paid for sex from a porn star? Probably not.
No.
I mean, let's go down Martin Sheen's black book and see what's going on there.
I know, but Martin Sheen is the president of the United States.
No, but this all happened when he was a celebrity guy on like the Shark, his the sub with The Apprentice and all this kind of stuff. It happened while he was not in office. That's a big difference here.
Yeah, but it happened when his wife was pregnant.
That's terrible. No, he's a terrible person, and he's gonna be butt fucked by Satan at some point.
Well, he got the evangelist vote and proclaims he is one.
Because he's of good.
Well, he was
good
born
again.
that again. This happened before he was born again. In their own, they created him as born again, and this happened before that. So again, he's clean.
Yeah, he's clean.
It's actually, this is an opportunity for the Republican Party to purge itself of a lot of that moral conservatism that pushes some people away, because again, no one really gives a shit. But the evangelical base is so important to them, they have to pretend that they care, but then they don't care.
Well, I mean, it's like the same thing when the Republicans use the
I
veterans.
just tied my
It's
own
all
brain into a
about
pretzel.
Yeah, I don't think it's a recruitment poster for Republicans, but I see what you're saying. There is an opportunity there to get rid of that kind of like moral conservatism driving policy.
To be a little bit more socially libertarian in that.
Church, state, we should kind of like get past that in politics. But yeah, point taken,
For Alejandro, Steph, and myself, thanks for watching. Hit that like button below, subscribe to us, and we'd love to hear your thoughts, so comment below.
And stay classy, Earth.